I'm sure I ripped the sound off from him because he would do stuff, especially on their first album, where he would double track the organ. Like on the beginning of Your Time Is Gonna Come.
Yeah.
That's just double tracked organ.
The combination with that pump organ, because you can hear that sound, that breathing sound in
Yeah.
there too. That's a beautiful combination.
I wanted to play the pump organ live, and Eddie wanted me to play it live, but it was out of tune. It's not in tune with the track.
Okay, so explain to people how you do that when you have an out of tune. So old pump organs.
Yeah, well, there's one right there.
One right back here. Like that one is a quarter step sharp, and many of them are not tuned to pitch. So you have to speed the tape up or slow it down to get pitch.
You can use, but you have to speed the tape of the computer up and down a little bit, to make the pitch work.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing B3
on the go down.
But this song had been around since I first met them. And
I think Eddie had written it back in the 80s.
And I made a comment early on about how I thought this is first day really the first day on the job. They played it in this little basement. I was talking about the practice with the evil dog, and I said, "That sounds great. That's a hit. That's awesome." And everybody just kind of goes, "Ugh." And I just went, "Oh, I have said the wrong thing." And I realized at that moment, I didn't know before that day, that that's what this is about. But from that point forward, I knew what this was about.
Sure.
But at that moment, I did not, and it was an uphill battle from there. So we tried to record it a couple of times for Versus, and we recorded again for Vitology. We did Vitology. It was actually a fun record to make in this way. We did it all over. They were on tour. We did it in New Orleans. We recorded something. I want to say we went to Chicago, maybe, but I think it was later. Went in Seattle. We did something, worked in Atlanta, Southern Tracks.
Okay.
They were on the road, so I've kind of followed them around. And Eddie he just was, in his mind, it wasn't working. First of all, you have to respect that. And number two, you just got to endure it. You just have to. And I was not letting go.
You were a champion of this song.
I was. It wasn't just that it was, and I understood Eddie's reticence with it. I understood that part of it. I just knew it was just going to be harder to get it done, but it was going to get done because the song was that good. It was going to raise itself up at some point. I just wanted to be when I was around.
Is that Eddie playing guitar on it?
Yeah,
it's a very well executed part.
Well,
on that.
We finally recorded it, and the way we did it was, they played it live. They would play it live at their shows, and it got a great response. It had never been recorded. They played it live at the shows. It got, when you have a band and their third album wasn't out yet, but their second album was out, and so we played the Fox Theater here in Atlanta. They played the Fox Theater. We were at the Fox Theater, and they did a live thing for something. It was a big live show, so they asked me to come and at that point I was living here, and we were working at Southern Tracks a little bit, but they were on tour. And we had tape machines there and everything, and I forget the tape truck came down from New York or something, I guess. I don't know. I recorded all the shows, so they did 2 shows and a sound check. So there were 3 takes, 3 versions of Better Man.
Okay.
Put those 3 versions together, because I remember reading years ago that Frank Zappa used to do some of his records, so he would take live versions and then take the basic tracks and overdub them for his records. I don't know if they're even as good records or not, but he did some like that, and I thought that was cool.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
I'm looking for any angle or any sort of way to get everybody excited about this. So I brought these tapes into the studio and put together a take. And I said, hey, these takes sound great. So that version you hear, the drums, the bass, and Mike McCready's part are all from the Fox Theater live.
Oh my God.
Those are all live from a couple different takes. There might be a sound check in there somewhere, but they're different takes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then Eddie was into it because I don't think it was so much I think a part of it was the process he was into, but it did sound good. It sounded really good, and it didn't sound quite so poppy. And he was on board, and he's saying it great. We did it the way they did live was, and the way originally it started big, and the first chorus came on, it was huge. It sounded great, and I'm super happy, and this is going to happen. It's great. Eddie calls me last minute and says, I got to tell you, I appreciate, he was super nice about it, appreciate everything you've done with this, but it's just too big at first, and I can't live with it.
The first chorus.
First chorus is too big, and it starts too big, and so I'm working on something else in Atlanta at this point. He's in Seattle, and I'm like, okay, well, what would you do? And he goes, well, it's just too big. Because I tell you what, come to Atlanta. Can you come to Atlanta? I can't come to Seattle. I can't leave. You come to Atlanta, spend a day with me. Let's see if we can fix it. I think it's that important. And to his credit, he
that was a great choice.
Well, he did it. I think he felt it was important too, but he knew that whatever the version that I was super stoked about that was coming out, he just couldn't do it. And so that whenever an artist calls you and says, I can't live with something, I got to fix it, the proper response is, okay, let's fix it. Let's do it.
So this is basically you and Eddie then in this intro, right?
That's it. He came to Atlanta and we did this. There is a version that exists somewhere. We did a whole version of the song like that. We did it like 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 or 4 times. But somewhere they released a version of just him playing guitar, singing, and the organs.
So you guys played through until the drums do the build?
No, we played the whole thing.
Played the whole thing,
song,
okay.
Until he was satisfied with the singing.
Okay.
When he was doing it this way, he was fully engaged, and he was right about it, because the intro and the first verse of this is
amazing.
It really is. He was 100% correct about it. And it's better than the version we would have done with the whole, but we had to edit it somehow to the other version.
Right.
And I did not know what that was going to be about. And we'd already finished the other version.
Yeah. Now in Pro Tools nowadays, you can do it so easily.
It's still, how, where?
Right.
And edit, and Nick did it somewhere. I know where it is, but it took me a while to hear it. And he figured it out. And there's an edit between that on the 2-inch tape and the thing, and there's the song, and it works beautifully.